Happy Friday. Welcome to the show Film Threat on a Friday. We've got lots of news. The Netflix Warner deal blows up. More on that. Plus, Zack Snyder finally responds to Martha. We've got a clip. You have to see this clip. Plus, we've got reviews, Scream 7, and Alan doing his best duty. Saw Pillion. He has a review. Where is he?
Alan!
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. I was supposed to see Project Hail Mary on Wednesday.
Yes.
And then someone cried like a bitch and said, I want to see it. I want to see it. And then you said, look, I'm seeing Project Hail Mary. You're seeing Pillion. And that's kind of how
that's not exactly how it went down. I just regretted, I really want to see it with my girlfriend who hasn't read the book. I read the book. I was someone else's plus one. I would have been, right? I said, Alan, you should just go. And then my girlfriend's like, just go. You want to see, you love that book. Just go see the movie. So I did see Project Hail Mary. There is a out of the theater reaction. I really don't want to go into detail. It's too early. I also think my fear for Project Hail Mary now is that it's going to be overhyped. It's going to be overhyped. And by the time people see it, they'll be like, that's it. And
that's what people were talking about.
Well, no, just lower your expectation. Just you're gonna have a great time. I want to see it. I saw it with, I don't know how I got in as a plus one, someone else. I was in a room with probably less than 20 people and no one spoke English. It was the international press seeing it for the junket. I have no idea. Exactly. You would have fit in.
Yeah.
Just speak some Chinese. But I've seen it and I can't wait for other people to see it. I want to see it with my friends so I can look over and I can see their reaction to things. I can't wait to talk about it more. I really don't want to talk about it, but I just want to see it again. I don't want to see it maybe a third time in 70 millimeter IMAX in Burbank. I mean, no, at the AMC Universal has a 70 millimeter IMAX. So,
well,
I'm hyped to see it.
Your girlfriend and I liked Pillion a whole lot. So.
I can't wait for your review. Hey, we've got a lot of news. We've got reviews, including Starfleet Academy episode 8. I caught this morning, and 2 interviews. We're doing a make good for. We had some tech problems on Wednesday, but that's all right. That's all right. We have a big interview next week. Justine Bateman is back on the show on Wednesday. She'll be on the whole show. So join us Wednesday. We're getting a lot of praise for the Jim Agnew interviews. Some of those clips have really blown up. He talks about how he was directly told, you're white, we can't hire you. He said basically the WGA, this is new, looks like the cast of Starfleet Academy. It looks like it's like people got pink hair, blue hair, everyone's wearing a mask. You got like the whole makeup of the WGA changed from 2016 to now. Like in a decade, it's like a lot of people who maybe moved up the ladder too quickly.
Do you know what the WGA is currently doing during the strike against them?
What?
They're performing Our Town as a way to
That's a Starfleet Academy joke, and no one will get that because no one saw it. Let's get to some comments here.
Sons and Shadows Cast gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
And I posted this week a whole bunch of videos for members only. Check those out.
All right. Sons of Shadow Cast also says, hey, hail, Chris. Late, have a 9-week-old German Shepherd puppy, and I need way more coffee. Coffee is not good for German Shepherd puppies.
Yes, don't do that.
Don't do that, please.
Don't do that. But thank you, Sons and Shadows Cast. Appreciate you so much.
And then Bill S. Press Esquire, I thought both of you were supposed to see Pillion. Yes, that's what I thought.
It was a choice between Pillion or Project Hail Mary. I decided it was probably better for me to see Project Hail Mary first, but I will see Pillion at some point.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, you'll probably like it.
Hey, Shucksy, haven't heard from you in a while. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to get letters from you. Appreciate you. Finally, I'm in time to catch Film Threat Live.
Yay. And then Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram. Buy our merch at shop.filmthreat.com.
And there is a new shirt. Not sure if you can see this. It says Amaze, 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 Project Film Threat. Does it say Amaze, Amaze on the back?
I should.
Amaze, Amaze, Amaze on the back. That'd be great. But I got to get this shirt in time for when Project Hail Mary comes. What colors do we have? Vintage black. What's the difference between black and vintage black? And
well,
then
one is more old black than
what about brown? Dark gray. Anyways, we have Project Film Threat shirts made, maybe in the spirit of Project Hail Mary. Who knows? We have those shirts available now, so check those out. Go to shop.filmthreat.com and then follow us on all the social media. I appreciate it. So,
yeah, John Smith, you should get Scott Menzel to appear on the show.
well, first of all, I know Scott Menzel in real life. I'm friends with him. I'm not a member of his organization, but I do attend the Astras thanks to his generosity. He is invited to award this. I don't even know if he went this year.
He wasn't there, but
okay.
I sat at his table at the CCAs.
Oh, well, there you go.
Or so, more, he sat at my table.
Scott, good guy. I don't know. Should we have him on the show? John,
yeah, why not?
I'll invite him.
I don't see why not. We don't really bring on other critics. Might be interesting to talk to Scott.
Maybe have him on Versus. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Would he do that?
And then Pilgrim Media, I enjoyed your Mr. Agnew interview. Informative. Yes, thank you. Jim is a recurring guest on Film Threat, and he's very welcome. Hey, let's get to the big news. Paramount Skydance is poised to acquire Warner Discovery. I know we've got like a story for this, Alan. Let's bring that story up. This is the big news. You know, for months it's like, well, Netflix, they've got this tied up. Netflix is getting Warner Brothers. Nope. How the turntables have turned. Alan, give us the story from Variety.
Yeah, here we go. Netflix has previously agreed to acquire most of Warner Brothers Discovery in a deal valued at $83 billion. But after Paramount raised the offer to $111 billion for the entire company, WBD board deemed the new bid a superior proposal. Rather than match it, Netflix declined. In a joint statement between the Netflix co-CEOs Ted Sarandos and Greg Peters, at the price required to match Paramount Skydance's latest offer, the deal is no longer financially attractive. They emphasized the acquisition was a nice to have at the right price, but not a must have at any price. Paramount revised offer included several sweeter terms: $31 share per cash in cash, a $7 billion regulatory breakup fee, a commitment to cover WBD's $2.8 billion termination fee owed to Netflix. WBD leadership framed the outcome as a value maximizing move for shareholders. David Zaslav said, "Once our board votes to adopt Paramount merger agreement, it will create tremendous value for our shareholders." The speed of Netflix exit stunned the industry. The company had until March 4th to counterbid, and it was reportedly lobbying regulators in Washington, D.C. the same day it withdrew.
Well, here's the deal. Netflix gets money. This was all about brokering a better deal. WB working on a better deal for itself. And I still think this is the less bad option, because you've got a company that is now committed to theatrical. Paramount has said we're committed to theatrical, but consolidation, less studios is not good. We already saw Fox gobbled up by Disney and what that has turned into: fewer films being released, Fox under the boot of Disney, not good. And a lot of people are complaining because they perceive, I don't know that I necessarily perceive Paramount Skydance as being a right-leaning company. I see it as being a not left. It's kind of in the, like, I don't know if you can look at all the shows, especially when you look at, Starfleet Academy. I think that is a very, very progressive, if not woke show. So that's hardly could be argued. I think, but I do think that more consolidation is not good. It's less innovation. When you've got fewer and fewer companies, that's fewer and fewer options. And the corporatization of Hollywood and everything is kind of the death of innovation or originality. We just played a clip about Vince Vaughn talking about why they don't make original comedies or original movies, because studios and executives are too cowardly to bet on something new. They'd rather bet on an IP. If it fails, it was the IP, not the fault of the exec who made that choice. Alan, what do you think about this?
Yeah, I think this deal is a million times less worse than Netflix.
It's less worse. That was my thought.
I personally have antitrust concerns about this. There is this collapse going on of the major studios, and this is another one of those. And yes, it could have gone to a worse company, but at the same time, I don't necessarily see this as elevating Warner Brothers beyond it. And that to me is what I think about as an investor. And when I put my money in, am I going to see a return on that investment? And I'll give you a great example of this. Back in March, I bought Warner Brothers stock at $7. And my reasoning at that point was, how could it go any lower? It's almost impossible for that price to go any lower. And so that's why I bought it. And then when I doubled my money, that's when I sold. Wow, I could have quadrupled my money if I just held on for a very long time. But what good is going to come of this? I mean, ultimately, we're witnessing a powerful company becoming a little bit more powerful, but not necessarily doing anything good with it. The only thing I appreciated is Paramount's commitment to the theatrical. And maybe that's, I don't know that that's enough to make me say, oh, this deal is the greatest deal ever.
Well, this is in light of just a related story. More theaters closing. The iPic that is in my neighborhood in Pasadena, walkable from where I live in Pasadena, is closing. iPic Theater Chains has filed for bankruptcy. I don't know if that means they're closing all the locations, but it's very disheartening. In addition, AMC will be closing their underperforming theaters. That will probably not be the 3 theaters in Burbank, but that trend does not look good. I'm against all this consolidation. It's sad because it means there are fewer places to go to pitch. I think this is just going to accelerate AI and accelerate an indie film revolution of people just creating the things they'd like to see.
Yeah. Like I said, make gooder stuff. That's how you save the theatrical.
This clip just dropped. Zack Snyder on Batman v Superman and the Martha line. He was on Josh Horowitz show, Happy, Sad, Confused. I have the clip queued up.
Do it.
Thanks to Atomic Lori. Let's watch it. I really am excited. I haven't even seen the clip, so I don't know where to end it, but let's watch. Here we go.
A little flack at the time. Jesse's like performance it's a big performance, like it's and in contrast to the rest of the film, and it's obviously purposeful in that way. And then 100%. I don't know if you test screened the film at all, but like I'm curious, like we've talked about, and you're probably sick of even hearing the word Martha, but like to have that appropriated, what is such a key plot point, and you're building to that, and then to have it become memeified and kind of made fun of must really stick in your craw a little bit, because from your perspective, it's a meaningful.
100%. My 100% honest reaction to BVS and how it's received in the world is that, it's really the question about like, and I've said this quite a bit, like, do you really want a movie that's had all the edges shaved off it by the focus groups? Do you really want a movie that has been like decisions have been made in the boardroom or tested ideas are being rendered for your enjoyment? Like, do you really want the Kmart version of your story? Is that what you really want? Because like, I would argue that like, that's fine. And it's fine to like make fun of Martha. It is true in canon. It is true in canon that Batman and Superman's mother are both named Martha. That is a fact of the comic book world.
Yes.
Whether or not that is a thing that you feel like Batman with the hovering the spear of destiny over Superman's heart, those words, seeing this, what he believes a creature, that this thing that he's demonized in his mind is got a mother named Martha. If there's another thing that could touch him, that could have been cool. We just felt like this was an obvious way in. And so again, it just goes, I think BBS really landed at this time when, this genre, like superheroes. And I think
I'll take a couple things, quick comments. What's the beaver on Zack Snyder's desk? What's it doing there? I love all the ephemera in his office. I really love seeing vinyl, and axe is in the background. Like I love all that stuff.
Yeah, it's a nice beaver.
By the way, I'll take Zack Snyder and his movies with flaws over what James Gunn is doing. Straight up. I'm sorry. And he's right. The Kmartification, the overproduced and overnoted movies. You've got one vision, whether you like that vision or not, or you accept it with flaws. Too many movies are overnoted. The Fantastic Four seemed like one of those movies. The recent one with Pedro Pascal seemed like lots of notes coming from the studio, and we've got to have diverse casting, and we got to have this, and HR department wants this, and marketing wants this, and this. The Fantastic Four seemed like that. It wasn't a singular vision. It was a movie perverted by too many people wanting to have their 2 cents. And I mean, I don't know. Again, I mean, I'll defend it. I'll take Zack Snyder with flaws over what James Gunn is doing, because from what I've seen from James Gunn, the first Superman movie and Peacemaker season 2, I just in the end didn't like it. So I don't know. There's a little bit more, Alan. Sorry to if you have any comments here, but let's finish.
No, I'll comment after.
I'll finish his thoughts.
Cut my teeth on Watchmen, and so Watchmen was never.
There's the beaver. Do you see it? It's very prominent beaver in this.
I mean, okay. I thought it was the popcorn bucket, but it looks like an actual beaver.
Is an actual stuffed beaver.
Meant as a glorification of the genre. You know what I mean? It was never meant, like, there's no Watchmen 2, though it's been suggested, I guess my point is that like this is like a novel, you know, like Watchmen is a work of literature. It's not meant to be like franchised and turned into something else. And so like that's where I was sort of coming from with this sort of giant story that we were telling with Superman, BVS, Justice League, and beyond. This was a universe a mythological universe that we saw had an ending, you know, and it was like, it was only gonna, you know, it was like a flower. It was gonna bloom and be glorious and then die. And then we would have been done with it. You know, I love this sort of mythological journey that we went on anyway with these three movies. Like, I mean, the like intensity of where we ended up with Justice League and how it evolved and where it came from and where like it, that whole insanity, which is another, we'll talk about that on the 10-year anniversary of Justice League. Because that might be a two-parter. But you know, I just think that, you know, things like Martha or you know, whether or not Batman should fight. So we're like, the thing that was funny was like when we were trying for the R rating or the PG R rating, we were trying for the PG-13 for the movie. The MPAA kept kicking the movie back to us, saying like, it's still an R, it's still an R. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, we're taking everything out. And I remember someone saying, we got a report from the MPAA saying like, we just don't like the idea of Batman fighting Superman. Okay. So it's kind of so that kind of
going to be a hard one to go back into the edit room.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what you guys want then. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, he really hits him hard with that like sink. That's rude, you know, like that feels like an R. He throws him down on those radiators. Like, that's rude. That's mean. And I'm just like, okay, well, you guys are like, can you please just, okay, let's just pretend it's not Batman versus Superman for 1 second. Is that, you know, I just think that like you realize then, we should realize then that we were kind of kicking the zeitgeist in the nuts a little bit, you know, that we were going to anger people because they didn't, like I said, they don't want, not only do they not want their heroes deconstructed, they don't want their heroes battling each other on a road to deconstructing the why of their existence. You know, that is another sacrilege. But in the end, like I say, in the end, it is meant as a litmus that confirms their worthiness, you know. So
right.
Well, if it wasn't
I think that's
man. Okay, what do you think, Alan?
What I think, well, to your point, I'm not gonna, you know, engage into presentism and say just because you dislike James Gunn that makes this better. I mean, I viscerally remember the moment the line was said. Why did you say that name? Realizing that this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. My eyes rolled so much, it made me look more Asian than I actually am. I mean, it's like, really, this is the sad thing about this clip, is that it confirms what I thought was that this dumb moment in the movie was intentional. This dumb moment in the movie was what this movie was building to, that they had the same, their mothers had the same name. And I'm like, oh my God, I hate this movie so much. And walked away just like, I mean, is bad enough I didn't like Man of Steel. But this one was just like icing on the cake. And look, I'll put the final nail in my coffin. I hated the Snyder cut. The only thing I liked about the Snyder cut of Justice League was the ending, was the final battle scene, because that was ostensibly better than what Joss Whedon gave us.
I like Zack Snyder's Justice League. I like the Snyder cut. I like the black and white version. I like what it implied it was leading to with a showdown with Darkseid. Again, I'll say it, I prefer a flawed Zack Snyder vision than James Gunn's vision, which I think doesn't move the genre forward. We've seen goofy superhero visions before. And what I liked, I really think the superhero film kind of peaked with The Dark Knight. Like, you can say something meaningful in a superhero story. And now we've just got cameo fests and
I mean,
pandering.
I like James Gunn Superman, but I agree with you. It needed to elevate Superman. It needed to bring back the old school superhero film.
Well,
and I'm thinking of Donner's Superman, and it didn't do that. But again, I was okay with it. I had fun.
I think what he should have done is built up the heroic version before you deconstruct the characters. Maybe give us the peak version of Superman, the good Superman.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Same thing with Batman. Get them to peak, then deconstruct and begin to question. But the very existence of Superman was questioned as he revealed himself to the world. And look, I think that could have happened later. But I think the ideas he explored were worth exploring. And looking back, I can pop on Man of Steel and really enjoy myself. But Gunn's Superman, it doesn't hold up. I think it's very surface level, and surface level while thinking it's profound. And
the other thing that stuck out to me in that interview was the MPAA.
Yeah,
the fact that they gave it a rated R rating because they didn't like the idea of Superman fighting Batman. I mean, that's not what the MPAA is for. It's not to say, oh, I don't like your movie, so I'm going to give it a rated R or an NC-17. It's there to say, what is the content and is it appropriate for certain age levels? And I will ask the question of what would that movie have looked like, in the earlier drafts when the MPAA turned down its PG-13 rating, and then they had to redo it in order to get it to that PG-13, which they were never going to get unless they can convince the MPAA that the plot wasn't the reason why it needed to be rated R.
I'll end with this. I think Zack Snyder was at least attempting to explore new ideas and make superhero movies for adults. And I think Gunn is making movies for kids and teens and people who like puppies and dogs and cute things. And I don't care.
Puppies are cute.
Hey, the CEO of Sony Films, Tom Rothman, speaks. We have a couple clips here. What he addresses. This is really interesting because, Sony, they own Superman. Excuse me, Spider-Man.
No, they don't. Okay.
We're talking Superman. So I thought that. But he had some things to say, and I've got some clips lined up here. It's from a podcast called The Town with Matt Belloni. Perhaps you've heard of it.
I believe I have.
Yeah, let me play the first clip here, and then we have two short clips. I don't know where they end, but let's sit here and we'll play the first one, and we'll see what. Here we go. The Town.
Where are we in the Spider-Man franchise? Not at the animated Spider-Verse. Is the larger Spider-Verse dead? Are you gonna go back to those at some point?
Yes.
You will.
Yes.
But it'll be a fresh reboot.
Yes.
New people. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And how is the partnership with Marvel going?
It's great.
Because that was a big moment. It was sort of a tail between the legs moment to have to go to Disney and say, listen,
I think it was.
we kind of ran this into the ground. We need you to bring.
Speaking of that, putting that question that way, we have a character. It's called Mr. Negativity. You would be really good for him. You should come and audition.
Studios don't typically say, here's our number one franchise. Let's bring in another studio to partner on it.
I can't take much credit for it. It was at the very beginning of my tenure and the tail of end of Amy's tenure, but I think it was an extremely smart and mature decision by Michael Linton and Amy Pascal, who are excellent executives, first rate. But the part that I quarrel with, run into the ground, no. It's an $800 million movie. That's some ground. I think, again, this was a question of opportunity because, yes, first of all, Marvel's great. Kevin Feige's a genius, and I can talk about that in a second. But it wasn't just bringing Marvel in to produce for us. It was actually we were able to introduce the new Spider-Man with Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man.
Connected to the narrative.
Yeah. So it had big upside for us, and it's been one of the great deals for both companies ever. A true win-win deal, to the point where the third one just did, and pisses me off that I have to say this, that it did $1.9 billion. You'd say $1.9 billion? What's the matter with 2? Well, it didn't get into China. So otherwise, but in my mind, it's over 2, because I know what we would have done in China. They just, small thing. They said, no problem. Just cut out the Statue of Liberty, which is where the climax.
That was the request?
That was the request. And
Wow.
I said, yeah, well.
That's like the last 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, there was that. And also, I really didn't look forward to sitting in air in front of Congress, telling them why I cut the Statue of Liberty out at the request of the Chinese Communist Party. So it's been it's been a great partnership. And I have to say, it's because they've been great partners. I know Kevin.
I'm going to make a prediction that there's no Statue of Liberty in the new Spider-Man.
Let me think about that. Actually, coincidentally, that's true.
Wow. China
Total coincidence.
Total coincidence.
Oh my God. All right. Hey, we've got another clip here. That's really interesting, kind of what they have to deal with on international. I'm glad he didn't pander to China and Cave.
Yeah. China sucks. The other thing is, I mean, I wish I could do an interview like this where I could tell the CEO of Sony and tell him that he ran Spider-Man into the ground. It's not that, and that, he would take that question honestly. These are the kind of interviews I really like, because it's just the fact that you can ask the question you want to ask, whether you're right or you're wrong. He did it. He was wrong, and the CEO of Sony just continued on with it. Well, same with Josh Horowitz. I mean, yeah. Go ahead.
No, I know we talk like, these studio executives evil. They're also people, and they have to juggle so many things. I think the TV show, I don't know if you ever saw the Studio with Seth Rogen on Apple TV. It's a phenomenal series. I mean, it makes light of everything the studios do, pandering, the dumb decisions they make. It's very much for cinephiles. There's a whole episode that is done in one shot, and that episode is called The Oneer. When you do one shot, and it's called a oneer, you just do it in one shot, The Oneer. And that's so it really is for true cinephiles. There's even a reference to the movie The Player, one of my all-time favorite movies by Robert Altman. You should see it. It's so good. Like, God, yeah, the opening scene of The Player is a oneer, which is done on a studio lot where I did a TV show once. But yeah, we've got another clip I want to play. But Alan, you were about to say.
No, I was just expounding on what I just said.
Let's get this second clip.
What's the crisis in movies now? It's not the amount of movies. It's not the big grossing movies. Spider-Man's going to do great.
It's the middle ground.
It's originality. The crisis is originality. The crisis is, where is the next franchise coming from? Because original movies don't have a built-in fan base. And we're getting to a place that without cultural urgency, you got to have cultural urgency to get over the bar. Why? Why is Timothée Chalamet such a movie star? Well, because A, he's great. He's a great actor. My daughter's a theater producer, put him in his first play. There you go, Elizabeth, gave you a plug. He's a great actor. He's never been anything less than great. And he's a fantastic cultural sales. He's a guy who understands, he creates urgency, cultural urgency.
But it doesn't seem like your fellow studios share your passion for originality.
Because my fellow studios we get the shit beat out of ourselves all the time when you try for originality. But you got to keep trying. And we do try. But
I read today you greenlit a Charlie's Angels movie.
No.
Or you're developing.
Deep development. That, and there's talk about originality.
But if you look at the slate, and no shame, but it's pre-branded stuff. You'll do a Garfield movie.
Your biggest movies of the year will probably be what? Spider-Man, Jumanji, and
because I have shareholders, and I have fiduciary obligations, and I have 6,000 employees whose bonus.
You're basically the guy in the studio. You
But-
want to do certain movies, and you
No.
want to also
No.
keep your job.
No, I want to be clear about that because I was widely misquoted on that.
Oh, you were.
Widely. So I get a chance to correct the record now because they took half of my quote from that.
Please.
I said very clearly on every episode of the studio, so please use this first part of the quote. There is a brilliantly blinding truth in every episode, and there is. And then I said, but the rest of it is horseshit. And what I should have said was the rest of it is silly because they only used the cuss word. Look, I think it's a brilliant show, and I think the satire is actually genius. But some of the most devoted, film-loving, smart people I've known in 35 years in Hollywood are studio executives. And not all of them, but most of them are in it for the same reason I am.
It's funny that before I showed this clip, I hadn't seen this clip before. He talks about The Studio, which is a great show. I strongly recommend it, Alan. You've got to see it.
Yes.
Final thoughts on this, and then we'll go to comments.
Yeah. I mean, of all the studios I'd like to visit with screenings, Sony is probably the best one. Having said that, I get it. This idea of originality. Yeah, he has to make money, and so he has to re-employ the cash cows. But if you look at Sony classics, they're hardly retreads. Those are originals, and those tend to be the better ones. And I think I don't know what Sony is doing, but they really don't push their classic series. And I don't mean classic films. It's these indie films that they greenlight and they call them Sony classics.
Sony Pictures Classics is the brand, and we often review their films.
Yeah, and they're the most interesting. They're not all winners. They're kind of like Focus Features or Lionsgate, but and they do have a faith brand coming out of it as well. So Sony. I guess I'm becoming more of a fan of Sony after hearing all this, and I love the playful combativeness that he's allowing in this interview.
Let's go to comments, and then we got to get to our reviews. We'll start with Soups here. I'll get to as many of these as I can.
All right. Chicken wings for $4.99. How I feel about Zack Snyder is how I feel about George W. Bush. I kind of miss him. I don't.
Chicken wing.
I don't. Sorry. Gone Bats. Remember, for 25 months. It's always cool to see in creators' workspaces.
Yeah. Zack Snyder's workspace is kind of cool.
I know. I mean, that beaver.
I can't wait. I'm looking for a different place to move because I need more. I can't wait to be able to put my books out so I can have them on view. My new office will not be a cluttered mess like you see behind me. You'll see lots of books and stuff. So.
Why don't you rent a second apartment at your current apartment?
I'm not going to do that. I did that once. That was a mistake.
All right. F Huzzy, remember, for 3 months. Bring back Coke in Hollywood. Let's just say the pandemic kind of ruined your plan there.
Yeah.
Andrew Cram gives it 5 film their memberships.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And then some non-soup comments here. A lot of them about BVS. Let's get to these.
Yes. Caveat ties, but James Gunn is a singular vision too.
Yes, I just don't like that vision.
Lee Kindler, who refers to their mom by their first name that was forced and stupid.
Yeah, I rarely would do it. And my mother, when I would call her by her first name, Patricia, would always correct me and say, "Who are you talking about?"
Yeah,
I've mom.
I've never called my mom by her first name.
Yeah, I would do it. Just we joke a lot in my family. We make a lot of jokes, and that was one that I knew would bug her, and it was funny. She did stuff to bug me. It was great.
Our own Charmin for 5 saw the trailer for Lee Cronin's The Mummy today. Have you seen it?
Yes, it was weird. Not sure what they're trying to do, but thank you, Aaron.
Andy Likes Stuff channel. The Martha line didn't ruin the movie. Oh yes, it did. I mean, it's the line. It's the single line of that movie I remember.
Yeah.
Tom Siebert, BVS is the single worst film of the 21st century.
I mean, I would disagree now looking at like where superhero movies have gone. They become dumber, pandering, and kind of disposable.
Yeah, I'd probably throw the Marvels in there. Saint Solomon, I would never forget going to see Batman vs. Superman, and people were laughing during the Martha scene.
Yeah, you're not wrong. But I will say that I remember seeing Batman v Superman almost exhausted because I'd seen so many trailers, so many leaks. And when I saw it, I thought that was way better than I thought it would be. Because I was waiting to see a disaster, and I think it was over promoted.
Wow.
But I remember liking it, walking out and saying that was better than I thought it would be.
No,
Anyway.
but the idea that he thought this was the greatest idea of this movie, the greatest moment of this movie, and no one stopped him.
Look,
okay, Christopher Moonlight Productions. This will probably be better for theaters, but there are still possible strikes that will knock the wind out of the industry. These old IPs aren't worth what they were. The iron is hot for indies.
Agree. The old IPs aren't worth what they were because they've remade them so many times. And now they're mining, like they're looking to mine other IPs that I don't think have the weight. They're just old movies. They're not old IPs. They're not like franchises that have endured or have a fandom that's, 30, 40, 50 years old. There are fewer and fewer out there to exploit. Agreed. There's an indie film revolution coming. And we'll be doing whatever we can to support.
Yes, and frequent contributor West Reviews is a new member.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you, Wes. Appreciate it. I see you would be all the time.
Response, yes. John Smith. Let's think about Fox being buried. There is no win solution here for the future of WB. A sad future for Hollywood.
The sad future is fewer movies will get made. And just because James Gunn is head of DC Studios, he still has to get people to approve and release the money to make the movies he proposes. They're not giving him a rubber stamp to just do whatever he wants. In theory, yes. Same thing, with a Lucasfilm, right? I mean, they didn't make that Hunt for Ben solo movie. Probably a good idea that they didn't.
But to the point, Fox is more like the Touchstone Pictures for Disney right now, and it's a branding.
I agree with Saint Solomon here.
Yeah, Tim's not funny. Sorry. Okay, I don't want Paramount or Netflix to have WB. It kills competition.
Yes,
they should bring back the 1968 Paramount case that killed monopolies. Yep. I
just think fewer studios, even fewer smaller studios. I mean, they've got these divisions like A24. You're going to review an A24 movie in a second.
Yes.
You need that sort of individual. Companies have cultures, like, they do. They have. It comes from the top. I mean, even the Film Threat, we have a private chat where everyone who writes for Film Threat all over the world. We all talk. Everyone is an uber movie nerd.
Mm-hmm.
It's really fun to go on there and see the conversations that come out of certain celebrity deaths or releases of certain movies. I love it. It's this closed off community of Film Threat writers. It's really fun to see how people interact that are uber movie fans. By the way, people at Film Threat all over the political map.
Yep.
But we just are bonded by movies. Few more here and we'll get to our reviews today.
All right. Lord Comment member for 5 months. Hey, Chris Gore and Alan, miss hearing from you. Miss me?
I did miss you until I read this. Yeah. Now I don't miss you anymore.
Yeah. Or when I go on my X feed. Foolish American for 2. I know right Netflix.
It's a very astute comment.
Tim is not funny. I wonder if Paramount will have buyer's remorse. That's a hefty buildup. That's a lot of money. I don't know that.
I think they said things in order to make this deal happen. Let's see if they actually stick to their guns.
It's like an auction. At some point, you just have to keep bidding higher because you want it, even though you can't do the math in your head as it's happening.
Yeah, it's for sure. Okay, wait a second. We've got to get to reviews. I think it's important we get to reviews.
You fuck that bitch. Oh, good. We still have that one in the.
I'm deleting it now. I don't want to accidentally play that again. But it's time for reviews, Alan. We promised to review Pillion. I unfortunately had to go to a screening of Project Hail Mary, was unable to see it, but you saw Pillion. This is, I believe it's A24. They're known for their eclectic selection of films that they distribute. It is a film about let's just straight up say it, it's a gay romance. Alan, give us the broad strokes of the story and tell us, how did you feel seeing this film? As a I'm going to assume a straight, you're married to a woman. I'm going to assume you're straight.
Yes.
So let's get that out of the way, but tell me all about Pillion.
Okay. Well, Pillion stars Harry Melling, who was Neville Longbottom in the Harry Potter series. He plays Colin. He's this shy, kind of aimless gay man. He sings in a barbershop quartet with his family. Chris, you understand that?
Yeah.
And while during a performance at a local gay club, his mother sets him up with a date that doesn't quite go well. But in the corner, a biker gang comes in. A gay biker gang comes in, and Ray is there, played by Alexander Skarsgård, and there's kind of a connection, somewhat. And they talk, wonder if doing the awkward asking out thing, and Ray says no, but then later slips him a note, meet me here. And so that night he meets him in an alley, and then I guess the term a BJ happens, and then later and then it's
wait, what happens?
A blowjob happens.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the problem is that Colin is not very experienced at it, and so it wasn't exactly the most pleasurable experience. And so Colin just thinks it's going to be over, and then Ray says, "Hey, come over to my house the next day." And so Colin shows up, and Colin thinks it's a date, but no. Ray says, "No, make me dinner," and so he makes him dinner, and then he has a dog. They're watching TV that night. The dog sits in the chair while Colin just has to stand over it. And so what we soon see is that there is this kind of BDSM kind of relationship,
master-slave relationship.
Yeah, master-slave relationship.
There you go.
And it's kind of the biker gang version of it. Here, I have this
sort of leather biker gang.
It's a gay bikers motorcycle club.
There you go.
That's what it's called. Okay, so that night he says, "Well, stay overnight," and Colin gets the privilege of sleeping on the floor. Unless he snores, then he can sleep out in the hallway. And then he wakes up and the cycle begins again. Ray gives him a shopping list for dinner that night. And there's this master slave relationship going on. During one wrestling match between the two of them, finally they make love through the back door. But because he's new at it, it's incredibly painful. I don't know if you understand how that feels, but we certainly got it in the film.
I don't. So there you go.
Yeah, it was quite horrible. And after that experience, Colin thinks, "Oh, Ray doesn't like me," but no, it's just butt plug, I believe is the word that was used at that point. So
by the way, no one's watching now. Pretty much everybody tuned out. We have no live viewers. You just say whatever you want now.
I know, there you go. And so this relationship occurs. It goes over and over again. There is a camping scene with the other biker gang and their slaves and masters that is quite interesting to watch, because I'll be honest, never seen anything like it before, and now I have.
Well, can I ask? I have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
First off, the word Pillion, that's not the name of the character.
No, that Pillion refers to the rider on a motorcycle. So it's the driver and the passenger. The passenger is the pillion.
Gotcha. Okay. So,
and then I'll just say that as the relationship continues, his mother, who's dying of cancer, questions whether Colin is in a healthy relationship, especially when they invite Ray over for dinner, who, after much begging, finally agrees to. Look, let's get down to it. Its intent is to be a love story, and I'll be honest, the first 2/3 of the movie, it was this slave master relationship, and I'm like, I mean, I don't want to be overly judgy, but this is not my thing. I'm a kind of an old school guy of, holding hands and, courting someone, showing some respect, male, female roles, things like that. In here, it's just, I mean, he treats them like dirt through the whole thing. But there's kind of this weirdly enough sweet love story that occurs in the third act that kind of like, all right, I guess I had to endure all that to get to this point. Is it enough to recommend it? Well, let's just say if you are not turned on by my description of this movie, you should probably pass on this movie.
Well, I have one question for you.
Yes.
Is this movie, like, look, you and I are straight, but I've seen gay films I think are very good. The works of John Waters. I don't think he makes movies for gay people. I think he makes movies that are funny and very weird. You have to like weird. They also happen to have gay content. We've seen other movies that have gay content that have broad appeal. Will this appeal to people who are not gay?
No. I mean, again, unless what I described to you turns you on. I will say, though, weirdly enough, there were more people at my screening of Pillion than there were at your screening of Project Hail Mary. I mean, I literally had to sit in the second row because all the seats were filled behind me. And then the gay couple, look, the gay couple next to me. And let me tell you, this is at the AMC with recliner chairs. So were the chairs reclined? Yes, they were. But the gay couple next to me loved this movie, especially the ending.
But do you recommend it?
No. I mean, I will have a conversation with my gay friends about this, but if, to my straight friends, it's like, watch at your own risk.
Well, I will say this, like I have gay friends, but they're not the stereotype of what you would think are gay. They're just very normal you'd never even think they're gay. They just happen to be. And they're not the stereotype of flamboyant or drag queeny, or even this is a subset of gay relationship, which definitely is a BDSM master slave kind of thing, which can exist in a heterosexual relationship also. So it's sort of a minority within a minority, I guess is what. So it just having seen the trailer, it's just not for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think the movie is better than what I expected it to be when I came in. I think, I mean, looking at the poster here, this year's biggest cinematic surprise, sexy, hilarious, brilliant. I think that's a little overstating things. There was a sweetness that occurred at the end that kind of redeems the movie, but you do go through a lot to get to that point.
Let's go to comments. We'll start with Soups.
Yeah, Pookie Malibu Talking about, never mind. Pookie Malibu for 5. I've never seen Alan so uncomfortable giving a review.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's going to get us demonetized? Shucksy, member for 43 months. Pillion sounds like a horrifying watch. Now Chris needs to see it in the theater. Have fun, Chris.
Chris. I feel like I don't need to see it now that Alan has seen it, and I appreciate Alan for that.
No, but I think abiding by the will of our great supporters and viewers of Film Thread
they'll
channel.
understand. They'll understand.
I don't know. Will we? Let's put up a poll.
You know what I did? I put up an anti-poll as you were giving that review. Oh my God.
Big Chris 245. Hey, 45. Thank you, Alan, for your sacrifice in watching this movie. Some of us don't have to. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not a hey, you need to see this movie. You know, everything you thought about it is wrong. No, that's not this. Not another name for 5. No thanks. We'll watch Dogs Don't Wear Pants Again.
Well, there you go.
I mean, one of the
couple let me get a couple non-soups. Neegs, it says Bike Back Mountain. Bill S. Preston Esquire. You should read this.
$5 saki.
Dax Sports Back Broke Dudley. And then Dark
Dudley, that's who it was. It wasn't Harry. Okay.
Yeah, Dark Hierophant says, is this the gayest biker gang film ever?
Yes.
That's a yes. 100%. I wouldn't watch that in a billion years. This caveat ties.
Yeah, I forgot that was Dudley. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what bullying does to you.
Well, he's very svelte and skinny, unlike his character in Harry Potter. Hey, Alan, let's talk about Scream 7. I'm not sure if you actually saw it.
No.
I am a fan of the Scream series. I think the films are fun. They're not as gory as other horror movies. It's kind of, Final Girl, the series. And we've had some good entries, some not as great entries. I think the best was when Wes Craven was directing and Kevin Williamson wrote the scripts. I'm sorry, that's when it was at his peak.
You mean
but
the first?
Nev Campbell returns in this because of a controversy over one of the actresses from Scream 6, which was intended to be a trilogy. There have been some protests over it. Setting that aside, Nev Campbell coming back is really what made this for me. Her character, Sidney Prescott, she's now married, has a daughter, teenage daughter, who's at the same age Sidney was when the events happened in the first Scream. So we see things play out as one would expect. Ghostface returns and killing sort of anyone that doesn't have plot armor. If you're a friend of Sidney Prescott or Sidney Prescott's daughter, you're not safe. Of course, Gail Weathers returns, played by Courtney Cox. And we've even have like 2 holdover characters from Scream 6, which return helping Courtney Cox. It's a bit convoluted how they get there. And I'll say this, this movie had me for the nostalgia. It's like, oh man, Nev Campbell looks amazing. By the way, I should say, she came to our theater. Her and the director, writer, Kevin Williamson, came to the theater in Burbank to intro the film.
Oh.
I shot video for members only. Check that out. But she really is the thing that ground this. But everything that they came up with, like that would have saved the day, conveniently came up with ways for it to not. Like, why isn't Ned Campbell or Sidney Prescott just have a gun within reach? It's always like somewhere else. She has a safe room, but leaves it. She leaves it to help her husband. There's like all these played by Joel McHale. Actually, he plays her husband. I really was there for the nostalgia, and it was clever up until the end. Ghostface reveals should like mean something. Like, oh, I never would have guessed that. And it's kind of like you could figure it out because people keep dying off. There's almost no one left. It was the worst Ghostface reveal in the series. I'm sorry to report. So while the first half of the movie had me from the like, it felt like old school Scream. It felt like, you know, they do the stab references, which are actually like Scream references, you know, like it was just very, you know, it sort of like it knows what it's trying to do. Even Matthew Lillard returns as Stu Macher. He's back, and you're like, is it Stu? Could it be someone with deep fake? You know, like what's going on? There's really good mystery box stuff until the end. I really didn't like the last half of the movie just lost me. Unfortunately, it's also too long. It's like it's 2 hours. Just under 2 hours. Should have been shorter. So I don't know. If you're a fan of the series, I will say you probably have fun in the first half, but the second half left me disappointed. The main thing being the worst Ghostface reveal in all the movies. I'm sorry to say. It's just what they could have, like, they even had like a clever way for Matthew Lillard, Stu, to come back that made sense. And they even have, you've got like Dewey with David Arquette. There's like cameos here, and they come up with ways for them to come back that make sense. It's not just a flashback, which is easy. So I'm disappointed, but I can't deny I had a good time for the first half of the film, and then it got tired. So a bare recommend for me, but only if you are already a Scream fan. Let's go to comments.
By the way, what celebrity appears in the beginning of the movie?
I didn't recognize anybody.
I mean, wasn't that the signature thing where they take a
they do, but there wasn't. There is a standalone sequence in the beginning. I didn't recognize the actors. It's probably someone huge.
They're probably
in a band that I don't know. Okay, because I don't like modern music.
And then nothing beats the first reveal, or the reveal in the first movie.
Yeah, you just but also let me go back to this. Let me go back. I'm going back. We're not gonna go to comments. I'm gonna keep talking. It's those reveals meant something. There was a big connection. It was shocking. That's why I'm saying the ghost face reveal, which I will not say, and obviously no spoilers, but it's disappointing because it's not meaningful like it was in previous movies where you're like, wait, what? And there's a really convoluted reason that you know you've got this person, you know, that is doing all this. Anyways, it's a bare recommend only if you're a Scream fan, and a not recommend if you're not a big fan. Let's go to comments.
Yes. Lord Comet for 2. If I wanted 7 Screams, I would have stayed married.
That's great, Lord Comet.
Aaron Charman, saw this today. I spent a lot on this movie willing Ghostface to kill some of the characters, and I was slightly annoyed when some of them survived at the end.
Yeah. No spoilers by the way, no spoilers with these comments, please.
Yeah. Davina Duckworth, it would have been great to see Matthew Lillard had returned as Shaggy in Scooby-Doo crossover. Ruh-roh, Raggy. Tim is not funny. Scream 7 was mildly fun, but chokes on its own IP worship.
Again, I enjoyed the second half. I didn't mind the nostalgia bait. I expected it.
I can tell you, Scream 5 had the greatest setup for a Scream movie, and they completely biffed it. They didn't even acknowledge it. Meaning, only the white people died in Scream 5. Mike MC Wong, Scream 7 was pretty mid, has a few good kills, and that ending was ridiculous.
Yes, we agree about that. Let's get to some more film reviews before we have 2 back-to-back interviews. Alan, you saw a film called K-Pops.
Yes.
Which I don't know. I saw the trailer for this movie and it kind of looked fun. It didn't work out schedule-wise that I could see the film. But you saw K-Pops, which stars Anderson .Paak and Sol Rashid. Tell me about K-Pops.
It was actually Anderson .Paak.
Anderson .Paak. Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Because believe it or not, he is half Korean.
Oh, there you go.
But Anderson .Paak plays BJ, who is he's a live karaoke band drummer, and he's the leader of the band. And his dream is to get beyond the playing karaoke music and making his own music. And as a result, as he pushes away the karaoke stuff and does original stuff, the karaoke shop begins failing. And so his boss fires him. His boss, Cash, fires him because there's no one coming. But he gives him an opportunity. His cousin is one of the producers of Wildcard, which is a K-pop reality show in Korea. The idea is like American Idol. You have all these wannabe K-pop artists, and they whittle them down, vote week after week until a new artist emerges, and their drummer quit. And so he's offered the job of the drummer. When he arrives, he meets the kid there, Taeyoung. He is one of the contestants. And obviously by looking at him, you'll say to yourself, well, he's on the lower half of the contestants, and that's true. And so they kind of develop this relationship together, and finally he meets his mom and realized at that point that his mother was BJ's ex-girlfriend in Los Angeles.
Oh no.
And they had a baby. And guess what? The baby had no father, which kind of falls into the stereotypes there, but he didn't know. And so now that they realize that they're father and son, he decides that he's going to make it his mission to at least make him look cool. And so he begins giving him advice onto how to dance, how to act, and do things for the show. And let's just say he improves. He improves very well. And that's I'll stop there with the movie. Is it good? Yeah, I really like this movie. And if you look at it as a better version of a Disney Channel movie, that's what this is. There's a lot of things that could have gone wrong with this movie, but at the heart of it, it's the story between a father who just found out that he had a son, and that the reasons why the mother left him without even knowing that he had a son, that is like explored very deeply in a way that's like, yeah, that's a very adult and responsible way to kind of view things. She left because he would have made a horrible father. And you realize, yeah, he would have been a horrible father. And now he has it. And this movie is about redemption, is the fact that now that he happened to run into his son at his job, he decides to become the adult and be the father the son really needs, and be a good father in that way. It's loosely based on, I believe, Anderson's story on his life, but yeah, I also appreciate the fact that both characters are Blasian, and lots of representation. Only one white person in the movie, so that should be enough to make you want to see it. So highly good recommendation. I mean, very strong recommendation.
It looked fun and heartwarming.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got the music angle.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I
saw
the trailer.
Yeah.
Which got me intrigued.
You know what it is? It's like if a major Hollywood studio had this story, they would have ruined it. They would have made it dumb funny. Instead, there are jokes here. There are obvious jokes, the nerds who can't dance, that type of stuff, or all these Koreans who can't rap. But it's handled in such a way that they never go for the silly joke. I mean, they do sometimes, but and they never go over the top with it. So he never becomes the Chris Tucker type or the Jim Carrey type. It's he's funny. There are funny moments in the movie. There are great dramatic moments in this movie. I think except for a few curse words, you could almost bring the family to see this movie.
Okay, well, good.
It's about fathers and sons. Let's put it that way.
And we get so few of those stories these
Mm.
days, so that's good to hear. Let's go to comments. Wow.
Yeah, Bush and Ryucat for 20. Forget Barbenheimer. I'm most excited about four Mortal Masters, Mortal Kombat 2, and Masters of the Universe. Also, is Netflix idea of putting their films in theaters for the WB deal going to be series finales or premieres? One Piece episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, tickets for One Piece episode 1 and 2 went on sale, which you can see it in a theater on the same day it's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
Makes no sense. I don't think Netflix is committed to theaters.
Nope.
They're only committed to theaters as it benefits them to promote their movies. I mean, K-pop Demon Hunter came to theaters with zero promotion. They just announced it after it had been playing on Netflix more than a month, and it was number one the weekend it came out.
Yeah. I mean, you hit it right on the head there. If Netflix doesn't need to spend money to promote it and they think an audience will show up, they'll put it in theaters. But outside of that, no. Lord Khan for 2. K-pop goes the weasel.
There you go.
The macho cut. I would go see K-pops, but I have Tourette's. Yeah. But the beauty is
you know what that reminds me of? Gary Delabate's pronunciation of McKine.
McKine.
It's machine. Oh my God.
McKine.
Okay, there we go. One last quick review before we go to our we have 2 back-to-back interviews. We're going to review Starfleet Academy episode 8, and Alan has one more review. Quick review here from me for a movie called Micro Budget. What is Micro Budget? It's actually playing in theaters this weekend at Alamo Drafthouse. There's a trailer on the Film Threat Trailers channel. I recommend that you check out. It's about a group of filmmakers, a writer-director who rented an Airbnb to make a big budget disaster movie in one weekend. It's about the disaster of trying to make a micro budget movie. It's crazy, over the top. They make jokes about DEI and diversity, and the director's like, no, I didn't hire you just because you're black. It's because it's just it mocks everything about current day what's happening in film. It's got good cameos from former SNL guy Chris Parnell and Kate Flannery from The Office. Little Bobby Moynihan as well from SNL. So a decent cameos and cast here. It kind of feels like a lot of the film was improvised. Maria Bamford plays like the girlfriend of Chris Parnell, who it's their Airbnb, and to save their Airbnb space, she puts Maria Bamford in the micro budget movie as a person delivering mail. It's incredibly stupid, and he deals with the effects guy. The effects look terrible. The lead actor, who I can't find the actor who played the lead, who was
is it Franklin Matt McCoy or
no, I can't find, he's not listed. Matt McCoy.
Yeah.
He's not he's
okay.
He's not the director, but the guy who plays the director, who's I can't find this actor's name. He's great. He's such an a-hole. He is such an a-hole. And I think if you've ever made or been involved in making a low budget movie, you'll actually relate to this. In fact, if you are embarking on making a low budget film, do yourself a favor and see Micro Budget. It's all the problems, everything that goes wrong. You can't do this, you can't do that. Too many people hanging around, everyone complaining about food. I mean, it looks like they shot this movie in less than a week. It's sort of dumb fun. I think I'm predisposed to like it because I like movies about making movies. I just find them entertaining. So I recommend it. It's at Alamo Drafthouse. I'm sure it'll be on VOD soon. So check out Micro Budget, especially. It's like an insider's view for filmmakers. So check out Micro Budget. And look, it's a great poster. I love the poster. Look at that. There you go.
I may actually see it.
Yeah. Well, let's go to comments. John Who gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Wow.
And then I guess we have no comments. No one wants to comment on this movie. How dare you? But that's okay. Folks, we have more reviews, a Starfleet Academy episode 8 review. But before we do that, let's talk to Undercard filmmaker Tamika Miller. She is waiting in the wings, here to do an interview and answer your questions. Let's bring her on the show. Hey, Tamika.
Hi.
How's it going?
Yeah.
Hey, that's great. We can hear you. Love it. Oh, we love it. We love it. That's great. So happy you're here. Your film, if I correct me if I'm wrong, your film opens this weekend. Is that right? Or
the film opens today? Yes, today.
That's
which is,
amazing.
Friday, February 27th.
All right, we are gonna give our audience a taste of the movie and check out the trailer. But first, what drew you to Undercard? What was the birth of this project? I think you were in the background overhearing us talk about Micro Budget, making a low budget movie. I think I might have seen you laughing. Maybe a little relatable, maybe too relatable. But tell us what brought you to Undercard.
Well, Undercard is a film that I co-wrote with my writing partner, Anita Cow, and directed. And there was a time in my life when I was a bit obsessed with boxing. And I was training at a pretty notable gym in Los Angeles called Wildcard Boxing Gym. And I just got to know a lot of the trainers and a lot of these, young boxers coming up, trying to come up out of their circumstances. And it was during that time that I had this idea. I said, I've never seen a boxing film featuring a woman boxing trainer training a man. And it was really born out of just my spending a lot of time in that gym.
So what went into the development? You're obviously inspired seeing these stories. How did you pull the project together? It's one thing to have the inspiration. It takes sheer will and money to get a film made.
Well, it was a journey. Undercard is a film that has been 10 years in the making. Wow. Wanda Sykes, who is the star of the film in her very first dramatic role, Wanda's been attached to this script for 10 years. And, and so it's a little mini miracle, I guess, that we're here today to talk about it. And, and it really just took, a financier, a producer seeing the vision and putting the money behind it. And here we are, but it's been 10 years of going out, pitching it, and someone said yes.
Well, I've always enjoyed Wanda on Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. She's such an irritant to Larry. I love that. I've got the trailer here for people to look at. Why don't we share this and we'll watch this together to give people a taste, and then we'll have more questions for you. Here we go.
Grant me serenity to accept the things that I cannot change. Courage to change the things that I can. Wisdom
to know the difference, living one day at a time.
On the wagon 4 years now.
Should I clap?
You not my mama no more.
I'll take care of you.
Well, Hector. Who said Hector out the mouth?
I didn't see all your fights like in the day. Catch a fight with me sometime. I guess I like that.
That boy of yours got something.
Got a real fight in the gym now.
We definitely got you fired.
Hey, man, you need to shut your mouth before I shut it for you. Man, you nothing but a two-bit street hustler. This is my town. You hear that?
Hey,
You let them take my baby, Papa T.
Somebody do that little girl you did me. You not.
You gotta work the steps.
Let it be known, I want the crown. Came to dethrone whoever's holding it down. Spirit driven with enough strength to take on the town. Yeah, I'm in again to win, but don't think I'm playing around now. Force moves whenever I want to, whenever I dominate.
My boy is ready.
Fighters don't make a move without going through me.
This is your time, our time. You're a born fighter. Do what we came here to do. Our blood, our sweat. We deserve this. No mercy.
Wow. I gotta ask. Well, I got a lot of questions now. But why is it that comedic actors make such good dramatic actors? We've seen so many transition, from Tom Hanks was a comedian, comedic actor, went on to win Oscars. Robin Williams, same comedic actor. I mean, I remember Mork from Mork, and then Robin Williams is able to do drama.
Yeah.
Why is this?
That's a great question. And that list goes on and on. I think of Jamie Foxx. I think of Monique, all of whom have won Oscars, all of whom. And so I think that comedians have the unique ability to go to a myriad of different places. I think that they have to be vulnerable. They're literally putting their sanity on the line, every time they go up on a stage or every time they go in front of a camera to be funny. And I think that maybe unlike some other or more notable dramatic actors, I think that comedic actors have a little bit more, and this is just my opinion, a little bit more freedom or audacity, fearlessness, if you will, to go to places that are maybe more difficult for other people. And so I think it's no mistake that, or I'll say it this way, when I wrote this script, I wanted Wanda in this role. And Wanda at the time, had been slaying it for 20 years in the male-dominated field of comedy. And when I met with Wanda after she'd read the script, she said, "Well, why me? Queen Latifah wasn't available?" And I said, "No." I said, "Look," I said, you've been killing it, in comedy. And it's that kind of vulnerability and fearlessness and determination that I want in this character of Cheryl, who is a woman boxing trainer in this male-dominated sport. And so it translated well, and I was really intrigued at the thought of having Wanda, because I knew that no one would see this coming. No one would expect this from her, and it would add another layer of interest in the film. So here we are.
Yeah, and let me ask you a technical question, because I have to believe shooting boxing is very difficult to shoot. What is the philosophy in terms of what you present to an audience, and then the strategy on how to execute that?
Well, the process of shooting a boxing sequence, to your point, is it takes time. It takes time. You have to get the coverage. You want it to be believable, and you want to believe that the fighters are actually hitting one another. And so, there's the choreography of the fight. It is choreographed, so the actors know exactly what they're doing. And so when we rehearse it, we're also rehearsing camera angles. We're rehearsing, okay, we got that. That looks great. I'm seeing what's unfolding in front of the frame. So knowing what my audience will see. And then there are moments where we're not shooting continuous choreography, and I'm just getting bits and pieces. Like I'm just getting that, punch to the head with, saliva coming out.
Yeah.
Those sort of more dynamic shots, if you will, that really help sell it. And so it's a process. It's a process to shoot a boxing sequence, and we shot the bigger boxing sequence in this film in no time. It would normally take double the time in which to shoot it.
So by the way, we've got 1,000 people watching live and a lot of questions from our audience.
Okay.
Let's go to those questions and comments. From Urjo, 2567, looks way different from other Sykes movies. That's funny.
Yeah.
Saint Solomon says, "Greetings, Madam Tamika. The story looks really cool. What was your approach for filming a boxing scene?"
Yeah.
I just spoke to it a little bit. Yeah, I just spoke to that a little bit. Choreography, basically.
And planning and prep. That's the
planning and prep. A lot of preparation. Yes.
I would assume people got hurt. Even with all the planning, there were probably people got hurt.
Why do you assume that?
I know you.
I don't know. Because it looks so. I saw the trailer. It looks intense.
I don't think anybody got hurt.
That's good to hear. Caveat Ty says, "How did you gather your crew?"
Well, we shot in Puerto Rico. So the film is actually set in Miami, but we shot Puerto Rico for Miami. And there's a great crew, a deep crew in Puerto Rico, as several things, films and television shows have been shot down there. And so, we spent a summer filming in Puerto Rico with a phenomenal crew.
Another Sam Spurgeon says, "Got Rocky vibes. Always a good thing. It's a timeless story that resonates with people." And Indie Shade says, "Comedians are the most depressed people on earth, so they understand drama and misery."
I think there's a level to that.
Yeah. Christopher Moonlight Production, you said that movie took 10 years to pull together, which a lot of people don't realize is normal for indie movies. Many lose patience and give up. What do you think is the key to seeing it through? I mean, a 10-year journey.
Passion. This was a script I wrote a long time ago, and you just sort of keep at it. But within that 10 years, I evolved as a storyteller, as a filmmaker. This is my fourth feature. I've done a couple of TV movies, a previous independent film titled Honor Student, which you can see on Amazon right now. And I direct episodic television. I've directed commercials. So 10 years ago, I was a very different director, And so while I would have loved for Undercard to come to fruition 10 years ago, at the end of the day, everything in its own sort of divine timing, if you will. And so I'm grateful that we're getting to do it. I mean, the one thing that I was a little concerned about when we finally got the green light that we're going to shoot it was whether or not I was still connected to the material in the same way. And I was really concerned about that. I went back and I reread it, and I was still very much connected to it, because while boxing is the backdrop of this film, I don't really think of it as a boxing film. I really think of it more as about this relationship between a mother and son, and this mother trying to reclaim her family and connect with the son that she had previously abandoned because of her own, alcoholism and downward spiral. So it's those kinds of intimate relationships that intrigue me, and for me, it's really at the forefront of this film.
Yeah, I don't want to assume or say this movie is faith-based, but it's nice to see religion represented. The scene in the church. I'm just saying, I'm glad it's present and can be a source of strength for the characters in the film. It's like, I'm just happy to see that. So other comments here, Davina Duckworth, with a 10-year production, was anyone concerned the actors would age out of being credible? I mean, I don't know. Wanda Sykes she just looks ageless.
That's a great question, because 10 years did pass, and I had to make a couple of adjustments to the script. to sort of fit the time that we were currently in. Absolutely.
Another question. Oh, sorry.
To piggyback on one of Chris's questions, did people get hurt like during conversation scenes or walking down the street?
Alan, look, you hear about people get hurt from the stunts, and that looks boxing is
but people take safety seriously. That's
we take safety very seriously on set.
Well, there's a reason I don't box. So Bush and Ryu Cat says, for Tamika, did you hire any pro boxers to help coach during production?
Yes. So we hired, I had a great stunt coordinator, boxing coordinator in Puerto Rico named Luis Raul Alcacer. And he, along with some former boxers, former boxers, were instrumental in training my actors. They did a phenomenal job. I mean, phenomenal. My actors, Bentley Green, who plays Wanda's son, Keith, in the film, and his sort of nemesis, Xavier Mills, those guys were in the zone. I mean, they did an amazing job.
I just want to remind people it's in theaters today.
Yes.
And then I assume coming to either streaming or VOD at some point in the future for people to check out. And where can people follow you and your work? Do you have a website or a?
Well, first of all, like you just said, it's in theaters today, and this is an indie film, and the opening weekend box office numbers matter because it dictates whether or not we get to be in the theater next week. And let me tell you, you want to see this on a big screen. This is a film that you've not seen before. There's no boxing film that looks like this. And if you're not able to make it out, then just go online and buy a ticket to support it. But you can go to our, I mean, why not, you can go to, if you're on Instagram, go to the socials and follow the film at Undercard_film, and you'll see everything that's going on with it. It has a great cast. William Stanford Davis, who many people know from Abbott Elementary, he's in the film, and he's remarkable. You can also follow me on Instagram, and my handle is at ByMikaMil, ByMikaMil. And just, and if you love it, or even if you like it a little bit, post about it, talk about it. It's going to take a grassroots effort to get the word out. And let me tell you, you're going to see Wanda Sykes like you've not seen her before.
And I got to say, I appreciate you, not only your journey, not giving up to make the film 10 years. That's almost standard for indie films that you're passionate about, but also for not giving up. You came on the show on Wednesday. We had the problem. I dealt with Lee. I said, don't worry. We're going to the last question. I said, we'll figure it out. It's going to happen. We'll either do it, but thank you for not giving up.
Thank you.
That's the spirit of indie film.
Thank you. Got to get the word out. So I appreciate you guys and what you do. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I just want to say it's in like less than a dozen theaters here in LA. It's spread out, so there's somewhere near you. But just the fact that the theaters
it's nationwide.
Yes.
It is nationwide, all over the country. So,
but just the fact that the big theater chains are supporting your film is reason enough to go out and see it and support indie films.
Yes.
Last question here that came in from. Go ahead, Helen.
Yeah, Uncle Pappy Wolf for 2. What was your biggest obstacle in making the film?
My biggest obstacle in making the film, once we got the financing, was the time. Just needing to shoot fast and furiously. It's like, I'm not shooting 5 takes. We got to get it in the first couple of takes, kind of thing. So that can be challenging at times. But we got it done, and I'm so happy with what we have.
Well, thank you, Tamika. Congratulations on your success with the film. I can't wait to see it myself. I haven't had a chance to see it, but it's in theaters. And so thank you so much for joining us today. on the show. Congrats again, and go see it. Go see Undercard, everyone. That's awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Take care. Bye-bye. That's great. Our second interview subject is not here yet. So let's do a film review. And if he shows up, we'll see. It's Jethro Waters, Gunfighter Paradise.
Sounds like a Western.
It is. And he's supposed to be here at 10:35 a.m. We run a tight ship, or what Alan calls the most complicated show.
No, the most overproduced show on the internet.
No, it's produced like a normal show.
No, but people on the internet don't produce shows like this.
Well, they should do that. And speak of the devil. Well, I don't know if he's a devil yet. Jethro Waters is in our green room night right now. Hey, let's talk to him. This is a double interview day. You get 2 interviews. Let's talk to Jethro Waters about his film Gunfighter Paradise. Hey, Jethro, how's it going, man?
Excellent. How are you doing?
Doing good. Hey, let me put you front and center here. I love the headphones. That's awesome.
Okay.
I appreciate it. I'm proud of these. These have done me very. They've done me.
I love them. Tell us about your movie Gunfighter Paradise, and I got the trailer all queued up. Can't wait to share it with the audience.
Fantastic. Thank you guys for having me on. Yeah, Gunfighter Paradise coming out tonight at AMC Lincoln Square, and tomorrow again, 7 p.m. both nights. And then we go to Lamley, Glendale in LA, March 6th through the 12th. It's a very dark Southern satire, mostly centering on how religion has ruined us as a country.
Oh, wow. Okay. And it's also a Western. Is that true?
I would say there's Western themes. There's definitely, we got Renato Casaro to paint our movie poster, who, is very famous for all the spaghetti Western posters and Conan and Army of Darkness. And there's definitely some spaghetti Western sounding music in the film, but it's based in the here and now.
Right. Let's take a look at the trailer, which I have queued up here on Vimeo. And I want to talk to you about how the film got a release here, but let's take a look at this trailer real quick.
Hey, how long do we have to wait here?
Stop talking to me, goddammit. We're dead.
Man, you think we're in the end times? I think we've always been in the end times, man, but it's just a lot longer span in history than anybody ever thought.
Are you all right?
Oh, yeah. I got over $7 million in a case upstairs. And it's like God is talking to me. How big is a fucking case to hold $7 million? I expected it to be like 3 times that size. Sick for a country. How did you guys get into this whole reenacting thing? My D&D buddy got me into it.
Shit goes all to hell.
You ever seen a psychic before? What? No. Do you think you're standing in the grace of God?
Wow. Okay. That looks very powerful. Tell us what led you to making this movie.
I grew up in a very conservative Christian environment where half my family was split, kind of very progressive, half very conservative Christian, and so it was
so like America,
like
so
America.
like America,
exactly like America, exactly. And so I kind of grew up speaking both of those languages, you know. And then in my teen years, my blinders kind of came off, and I looked around at the world and became more of an observer than a participant, in at least on the very conservative Christian side of things. And so I'd been thinking about making this film for a long time. Started writing it around 2021. With the idea of making a central character that was the most extremely ridiculous version of what someone like me or anyone could become if they didn't look around at the world. And unfortunately, I feel like we have a lot of those folks that I was kind of satirizing actually walking around in the United States right now. But yeah, that's how it all got going.
Well, I mean, look, I have known people that are religious all my life. I've never been around someone. I grew up in Michigan, never met someone who was so extreme. But I think I've always had like it can be used for good, or people can take it too far.
Right.
Is that what the film deals with?
100%. It's really just asking questions about who we are as Americans, right? And when I say, you know, that religion has ruined us all, I don't mean I have nothing against any of the religions. I have a lot against greed and corporate use of religions and spirituality, and I have a lot against the idea of fear being used to force people into this, into acting a certain way. And that's what a lot of, you know, Christianity in America is based on, you know, fear. It's all based on fear. I think there's a lot of beautiful things inside the Bible. I mean, I have a lot of conversations with people who are very devout Christians, and I'm always, you know, talking about, well, if we were to focus on reading the Sermon on the Mount, there's a lot of beauty in that and what's actually said in that. There's some really wonderful things about kindness and acceptance and being a good human being to other human beings. And that has nothing to do with all of the other cherry-picked moments from what a lot of Christianity represents in America today, which is fear. And it's all hybridized with patriotism and with violence and all this other nonsense.
Well, I should probably just say, you know, I kind of come from that background as well. And, you know, I don't think I came to the same conclusions you did, but I've certainly seen it. I've certainly experienced people who've used religion to basically bilk people out of their money for overly political causes. And so I haven't. But at the same time, I can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Right. There's a lot of good in it. And you talk about the Sermon on the Mount. There are a lot of other things that Jesus said and did that I think we've lost our way. And I think you're pointing that out.
I agree 100%. And this film in no way is poking fun at Southern Christians or at, you know, it's definitely a satire, and I'm poking a lot of fun at Southern culture, which I'm very much a part of, which is part of my culture. But it's also a love letter to the South, you know, and there's a lot of reverence paid to religious music. There's a lot of gospel music that's sung by actual gospel singers in the film who are two of the actors in the film. They do an amazing job. And there's a lot of reverence to spirituality and to believing in things that are bigger than us. And I wanted to make sure that was a big part of the film, the poetry of the South, the poetry of spirituality, the poetry of if you believe in God and you do good things with your life. I think those are very deserved pieces of the film. I just there's the other half of the film represents, you know, the total darkness that's encapsulated a lot of Christianity.
We've got questions from our audience, and let's go to those questions right now.
Yeah, Sons and Shadowcast. Looks fun. So physical media options, us collectors want to know.
100%. We will be making special edition posters for Renato Casaro's movie poster. There'll be Blu-rays on the way. I'm working with an absolutely extraordinary artist who will remain nameless right now, but there's a graphic novel series in the work that's coming. So anytime you want to know about anything that's going on with the film, where to see it, what theaters it's playing in, or any of those other things that are coming out, gunfightermovie.com is the place to go.
Okay. Another question here, Alan.
All right, Sam Spurgeon. I live in ground zero of religious fanaticism. I'm religious, but what he says is very truthful. It took me a long time to get comfortable with my own views.
I can relate. I can 100% relate. It took me a long time to work my way out of the existential dread of waking up and thinking if I thought the wrong thing, I was going straight to hell. you know. And then I started zeroing in on what are the good things that Jesus says, and what are the good things about other religions, and they're saying about humanity, and focusing in on those. And I'm with you. It took me a long time to work my way out of that fear-based reality.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, that first part of what you're saying, that is a fundamental misinterpretation of what Jesus did and walked, and how he basically chose people to save, or who became saved. It was never through fear.
100%. Yeah,
and
100%.
here I found the website gunfightermovie.com. It lists the dates: AMC Lincoln Center 13, February 27th, 28th, and the Lemley in Glendale. I was there yesterday, March 6th through the 12th. Question: how'd you get in an AMC in the Lemley? Did you
our publicists? So we're still doing an independent release because we received a bunch of offers from distributors as we did film festivals, but as we all know, distribution is changing really rapidly, and a lot of the distributors have turned into aggregators. And I knew that the film would just disappear if I signed a deal with the offers that we were receiving. So we just looked around and said, you know what, let's just go independent. We'll get this out in theaters ourselves. We'll find a good publicist, and we'll roll from there. And things have been doing great. We got a lot of great press this last week before the release. The New York Sun just released an amazing review. I'm so happy about the review that just came out this morning in the New York Sun, and we've got lots more to come.
And we were in the trailer for
I noticed Bobby Lapierre. That's great. We love Bobby.
I loved Bobby's review. Film Threat was front and center.
From Scopos for 5. I'm a Christian, but as one from California, I experience a lot of negativity toward my faith. Like Alan, live seen good and bad. Why should I see this film? Yeah. So for a person who would be in Scopel's position, what do you have to offer?
Yeah, I think it's entertainment. There's a lot of dry humor and goofball riffing, but I think there's a lot of questions being asked. I think of people who are of faith. I don't think that I haven't found it to be insulting. I've had a lot of people who are devout Southern Baptist who have come out to the film and walked away having laughed a lot, having thought a lot, asking a lot of questions at the Q&A. I think there's a lot of questions that just built into the film that give us a really interesting conversation to talk to each other as people who may or may not be very devout, may believe in spirituality, may believe in Christ and Christianity. I think that it's built as a puzzle box to ask those kinds of questions and have those kinds of conversations. There's no real declarative statements being made in it.
All right, and then St. Solomon asks, greetings, Sir Jethro. What was the inspiration behind the story? I think we talked about that. Yeah. Just really wanting to lean into and ask ourselves, who are we as Americans when we're seeming to infuse one specific religion into all of American life? Where are we right now? That's kind of what inspired the film.
And I want to remind people, go to gunfightermovie.com for a list of theaters and showtimes. It is in theaters. I assume if you're not in that area, will be on VOD at some point. Gunfightermovie.com. Jethro, thank you so much for joining us on the show today. I like your headphones because I want a pair of good headphones. Why don't I have a good pair of headphones?
I will send you a pair. I will send you a pair for having me on.
Are those quarter-inch headphones? Or?
They are.
Those are the good ones.
Yeah. I can get you a Gunfighter Skull print, a custom edition if you want, and you'll be good to go.
Be great.
Okay.
Thank you, Jethro. We appreciate you. Appreciate the one last quick question. How long was the journey from you thought of making this film in your mind to today? Now it's coming out in theaters.
I started writing it in 2021. Then we started getting crew together in 2022. We started shooting our first shots in 2023 because it was very independent. We made this film for peanuts. I mean, like the lowest budget you can imagine. All non-actors. Jessica Hecht is the only actor, but she's in voiceover, and everybody knows Jessica Hecht. And so we shot over 2 different falls. And it was fall of 2023, 2024, and then we did film festivals last year, and now we're finally coming out.
First of all, that's fast. 5 years. 5 years is pretty fast. I want people to have perspective. Yeah. 5 years.
Yeah, and then shooting for 2 years or a year and a half, probably.
Yeah, just because we lost the leads and we lost the light in the season, so we had to wait till the next fall and then shoot again. But it came together really quickly because we just had a big group of friends who were really dedicated and really wanted to see this film happen. So that's what you need on your side if you're an independent filmmaker: some great collaborators and great friends.
And the theme is never give up. Never give
100%, 100%. Yep. I knew I was going to spend a good year of working of just solid work getting the film out, and we're getting it out.
And Jethro, one last dumb question. Any relation to John Waters?
You know, that's not the first time I've been asked that question. I wish I could say yes, but I don't know. I've never done 23andMe or any of that, but I would love to get together with that guy and talk shop, and maybe there's some cousin down one of our lineages.
Is he from the South?
I have no idea.
No, he lives in Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
John Waters lives in Baltimore. Jethro, thank you so much. Congrats on your film. Take care.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Hey, we've got more movies to review. We're going to get to Starfleet Academy, but Alan saw a film that I did not see that I may not even be able to pronounce. Umamusume. Yeah. Umamusume, Pretty Derby, Beginning of a New Era. I did see the trailer for this movie.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah, we showed it here.
It's about women racing.
Yeah. Okay.
Tell me the
we need to
story
get
of this anime.
Yeah, let's just say that I had the choice last night after seeing K-pops of either seeing Scary Movie 7 or Umamusume.
Scream 7.
Yeah, and Scream 7, and I chose this one. Yeah, this is a very weird movie. It's about a bunch of girls who are competing in a what they call a wild, cocky street style running competition known as the Twinkle Series Race. And there's a school that allows these girls to train. They're like teenage girls, and essentially it's horse racing, but instead of horses, they're girls, teen girls. And the main character, her name is Jungle Pocket, because of course their names have to be racehorse names.
It's weird.
And
okay,
yeah, Jungle Pocket is a bright and shining star. Throughout the lower circuits, she has become undefeated. And finally, she has made it to the big leagues, where she is running against Agnes Tachyon. And for the first time in Jungle Pocket's career, in that race, she loses pretty bad. It's kind of like you move up, you're the star at the minor leagues, but when you get to the majors, you're just made an embarrassment. But what that does is that inspires her to become better. And so the whole movie is about this kind of competition between the two. And yeah, it's a racehorse movie. This is interesting. I'm not.
The trailer blew my mind.
Yeah, and
it's so weird.
And the movie is like, what the hell am I watching? I sit here trying to figure out, okay, how do I encapsulate this movie? But essentially, anime is not, anime has shown itself to do quite well with sports themes. My daughter was way into haiku, which is about volleyball, and I know there are other sports. I'm pretty sure soccer is in there and baseball. And so now this is one about horse racing. And let me sum this movie up. It's a movie about sports. About what it takes to become an athlete, the mindset one must have to become an athlete. In baseball, the sayings, you're winning at one inning at a time. That's kind of what this movie is. It's the thought process and how to become a better athlete. When Jungle Pocket, loses to Agnes Tachyon, now her mindset is, well, how do I beat her? What does it take to run faster than you've ever run before, and then to do that again and again and again. She has an old coach who gives her advice, gives her very sports-like advice. Then we're delving into Agnes Tachion's life a little bit, where she has never lost a race, and now there's that mindset of what does the greatest athlete in the sport think? At what point does it become tiresome to constantly be winning? And then when she in the middle of the second act, she retires. Now Jungle Pocket has to deal with the idea of, now that Jungle Pocket is the best, she is the best, but she never really beat the best. And so that's this movie, and it's done from the perspective of teen girls.
Do you recommend it? It's
oh my God. I mean, it's like Kokuho from last week. I don't know anything about kabuki theater. I barely know anything about anime. I watch it and go, okay, well, these are really interesting ideas to explore. These are, we're not really telling a story you haven't seen before. The underdog trying to become the best. But it really goes deep into the philosophy and the mindset that people have in order to become the best. And so, I mean, if you get past the weirdness of it, sure, go ahead and see it. If you're a fan of anime, I couldn't exactly tell you that this was on par with all the anime. It looked like it was, but it's not for everybody, and it wasn't for me.
Let's go to comments.
Yeah, Sons of Shadowcast. I'm lost. Yeah, I had to do some research afterwards to not be lost. Mob, wait, are the race horses? That's right.
Well, they're not race horses. They race, but it's almost
no,
like
but
human. I saw the trailer. Only
let me. They're like racehorses in the fact that they race on a racehorse track, and that the rules of racehorsing apply. The setups, they're in these stables that open, and then the race goes on.
But they're humans.
But they're humans, but they have
They're
tails.
Teenage girls
with tails, with horse tails. Shuxy, Alan connecting with his Asian roots there. No, I'm Chinese. This is Japanese. That's racist. Wisemax 33 for 10. The cool part about Umamusume, every race in the movie is based off of the one that happened in real life, and the same results, and that every girl is based off a real horse. And then there's a second part to that somewhere.
I didn't. Yeah, I don't know. We'll find the second part.
Yeah, so, but that's interesting to hear that, because there are, when they introduce each race, there's such detail to it, and now I realize how they got all that detail.
Well, that actually makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. So there you go.
It's not rotoscoping. It's not like they took those races and then.
Do we find part 2 yet of this comment? We'll get to it at the end of the show. One last thing to talk about, Alan. One last thing we have to discuss, and that is Starfleet Academy Episode 8. The crew is still dealing with the trauma of what happened a couple episodes ago that I forgot.
2 episodes ago.
2 episodes ago. The trauma. Crew members were lost. Minds were melded. They're dealing with the trauma. And how do they deal with it? Well, they brought in a new instructor to tell them about theater. That's right. Theater will help them ease their feelings, which are quite hurt. I don't know if this first of all, watching this series is like being in hospice.
Yeah. By the way, sorry to interrupt you, but do you understand who the instructor is?
He is from a different show I didn't watch.
Yes. Okay, good.
Please explain it to me, Alan.
She's from Star Trek Discovery, a show I only saw 3 episodes, but I remember this character from it. And I'm not sure, A, how she is in this time period, and B, how she has not aged.
Well, also, I can't explain how she has. This was distracting in the episode, this character has really bad skin and blemishes.
Yeah.
They try to cover with makeup, and maybe my TV is too good.
I saw it too.
In 4K. I'm like, am I the only? This is distracting. Mainly it's because I could care less what's happening in the series, but her bad skin was very noticeable.
I watched it on my phone and I could see it.
Really? Okay. I
Yeah.
watched it on my 4K TV and it looked awful. I felt bad for the actress. Not her fault. Maybe she was nervous. Maybe she was eating too much chocolate. I can't say what made her break out, but she clearly had broken out and the makeup was not helping. It could not cover those blemishes. But I'll just say that this series is like watching every episode of this is like visiting a dying friend in hospice. This is a series of shows I once loved that's now come to its finality. It's
not
end.
not
And
only
now
is
we're
it
hearing, by the way, we're hearing that season 2 of Starfleet Academy may drop later this year in December as a way to end it. But Alan,
let me just say that you mentioned a dying person in hospice and one that is trying to stay alive in the most embarrassing ways possible.
right. Well, there's two plot lines. One, they bring in this instructor to tell the main characters
Therapize.
about theater as a form of therapy to get over their trauma, which I don't know, I feel like you could take every plot of Starfleet Academy, and if you'd done it in the next gen era, would have been handled wonderfully by better writers. This, it's handled in a terrible way because it's not as if theater, fiction, music was not a part of the culture of Star Trek. It was always present. So it's just written so badly. The other plot line is Sam going back to her home world because she's glitching so bad in the most embarrassing effects. Those effects, I laughed. We see the Sam character fall to the ground and she's like glitching. It looked like some cheesy effects from like if you had no money for effects. It looked terrible. And they take her back to her home world to meet what do they call them? The founders.
Yeah. And who cares?
Who cares? Exactly. And they go back with Captain Aki and what's his name? Robert Picardo.
The doctor.
And that ends up in an embarrassing, like, I don't even know what the layers of bad in this, like, I don't know whether to laugh or cry. We're at that point. And the Sam character, what ends up, does anyone care about spoilers? Let's put up a spoiler warning. Do we have the spoiler warning? Put up a spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Warning. Okay. If you care about Starfleet Academy episode 8 spoilers, now's your time to bow out. We gained people. I'm looking at the numbers. More people. No one's left. The Sam character, there's a way to save her from glitching, but it involves basically Robert Picardo being her father/mentor and raising her from birth so her previous self doesn't exist. That's the way I understood it.
Because time, the issue is time, because a day is like 4 years.
Right.
And so the idea is that she needs to, in order to save her, they need to reset her as a baby, and then Robert Picardo raises her to teenage years, and then she can come back to Starfleet.
Yeah, they basically need to take Sam, turn her off, and turn her on again.
Yeah.
They reboot her.
Yeah.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
It's dumb that they even have a hologram character that is going to Starfleet Academy. She could just Matrix-like download everything into her brain.
Yeah, which she does in the beginning of the show.
It doesn't make any sense to have a character. I can see it being a side character, like a character that could be a professor. There was a missed opportunity to have, you could have Riker on the show as a hologram version of himself as an instructor. That would have been better than choices they made here. So you've got these two plot lines that intersect. In the end, Sam returns from her journey and hugs everyone. How does she know them? She's a rebooted version. The version of her that was from before no longer exists.
No, they explained, and I don't know how you could have missed it.
I know how. I didn't care.
Yeah, but they said
I
that
missed
she would have
something?
both memories of her raising him raising her,
Oh.
and her time at Starfleet.
I thought they said that the old version of her
Yeah,
would die.
I know.
Oh my God.
I
I look, okay, done with the spoiler thing. You don't care. I don't know what to say anymore, but this is an embarrassment. If this is what, and we had Jim Agnew on, screenwriter, producer, watch that interview from Wednesday. He basically told us that starting in 2016, for the last decade, the entire makeup of the WGA became Starfleet Academy. The kinds of characters you see on Starfleet Academy, that is now, they stopped hiring. We can finally say it because he was told, you're white, we're not hiring white men. That's it. And by doing that, they got rid of the people who could have mentored up and coming writers to learn the business, learn the craft, learn the history, learn about screenwriting. And you've got children with less experience doing these shows. And guess what? It shows. It's terrible. I can't believe. I'm going to see it through to the end. But this is painful, folks. This is painful for me as a person who loves Star Trek, like original series, Next Gen. Like I just, this is painful. Yeah. Alan, what do you think?
Yeah, this is painful for Chris. So please like, share, subscribe.
Oh God.
Star Trek was once a vision of the future. Starfleet Academy is the vision of the present, but with cooler toys, cooler tech toys, and I would even challenge the cool part of that. I mean, ultimately, the question is, who is this meant for? Who are they making this for? And I think the original Star Trek, yeah, it was sci-fi that had a limited audience, but I think it was shooting big, or shooting broad, trying to reach a large group of people, and it did. This one wants to narrow it down to a specific group of people. So this Starfleet Academy show, these 2 seasons that we're about to see, it's mentioned in one of the comments. This show is made for theater kids. And that's it, because I can guarantee you, outside of the influencer space and the theater space, kids A, are not watching this, and B, repulsed by it.
Yeah,
because it is just so dumb that even they understand that they're being pandered to, and many that my daughter and others have said that they are not interested in this whatsoever. The biggest problem I have with this specific episode, though, is how you deal with trauma. Let's just remove the fact that this is supposed to be a military type school, and that maybe trauma is the thing you need to deal with, or you're going to experience on a recurrent basis. But the idea that the whole thrust of this theater thing is that we're going to do therapy without them knowing they're going through therapy, which I have a really big problem with. If kids should not be suckered or tricked or manipulated into therapy. They need to get to a point where they need therapy. Why? Because then they're at a position where they can do things to work through their trauma. But this, I mean, the original Star Trek used to have scientific consultants. This Star Trek, I don't believe, uses a single consultant. not even one that deals with teen trauma or PTSD. I think they just sit there thinking, oh, here's how I think we should now deal with trauma in the future. And let's do theater. Let's reenact our town and solve everybody's problems. There's a moment where that's challenged, which I appreciated, but the result of, and this is why I don't trust this show. They ask some really good questions, especially from the Tamika character, but the answers I think are just misguided and sometimes dangerous. So this show, I fear for the safety of the audience of this show. Let's just put it that way.
Well, the intended audience, I feel like the intended audience doesn't exist in the numbers that would make this show successful. They have taken, not all young people are like this. That is the writers of the show. That is the characters in this show. Not all young people are like this. They are pandering to the fringes of losers in life and not people who you can aspire to be or who are part of the way on that journey. And it's depressing and sad for me. And at this point, we might as well see it through to the end.
The bothersome thing for me is these kids experienced what anyone who was part of the past Star Trek could have experienced had they gone on an away mission. And the fact that they didn't have anybody on board at that time to deal with trauma like that, and that they have to bring in a theater arts teacher to do that. I mean, come on. I mean, it just shows you the Federation is lost. There's no hope that the Federation will survive whatever challenge they're going to meet next. Nosferatu, or whatever your name is, have at it. It's yours. You can easily overcome them. You can easily beat them.
Let's go to comments.
Yes. Bush and Ryukat. Nope, sorry. Let me see. I'm trying to.
All right, Bush and
I
Ryukat.
can't. Yeah, Bush and Ryukat. There we go. Alan, for 2, Alan watch Cowboy Bebop and then take a cold shower. Weissmax for 10. Thank you.
Thank you.
The girl. Okay, so second part of your super chat. The girls' race outfits are based off the uniforms the jockeys wore, and the accessories on their ear determine the gender of the real horse, right for stallions, left for mares.
Wow, they really went into detail on that. I'm getting more and more interested in that.
Yeah, I mean, look, don't you wish Star Trek would have gone into that kind of detail?
I don't know. I don't think they care. So, okay, back to this.
Indie Shade for 2. Chris, read my comment. So here's a couple of bucks. Chris read my comments.
Thanks, Indie Shade. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Read and read are spelled the same way. Bush and Cat for 2. Starfleet Academy, justifiable school delinquency.
We'll start from the bottom.
You're self-imposed. Sons of Shadowcast, it was spoiled before it started. Yeah. Shuxy, therapy and acting classes are all the writers know. Mm-hmm. The Introspect M, there was a smug theater kid episode that was so proud of itself while shoveling pure Trek. Sir Dirty Dog, I can smell Alan's brain melting.
And a quick question here from I Will Not Eat the Bug. Chris, I know you reviewed anime in the zine back in the day. What's the one that stuck out in your mind and made an impression? I'll tell you 2. Legend of the Overfiend. And be careful if you look that up. There's a lot of just bizarre, let's say, hentai sex in that. It was sent to me in a bootleg tape from, believe it or not, Stephen Bissett, who I was trading tapes with in the 80s. So Legend of the Overfiend. Don't look it up, Alan. I said don't look it up. The second one was Akira. I first moved to LA in 1989, and it was, I think, maybe 91. Akira, the comic was coming out then, which I bought black and white comic at Golden Apple Comics on Melrose. And then the movie came out from Streamline Pictures. We were all blown away. I bought the soundtrack. I was obsessed with Akira. So those 2 stood out to me. But I grew up watching like a lot of Asian cinema and things like Kimba the White Lion, Speed Racer. So I like those as a kid. I also like, of course, the Toho Godzilla movies, things like Ultraman and Johnny Sacco and his flying robot. So yeah, I was very open-minded to just weird types of movies and media. And Geek Truth 64 member for 34 months. As former military, the stupidity of new Trek hits. Yeah, it's got to. Yeah, it's got to. And
so basically, Legend of the Overfiend is Pillion. Is that what I'm understanding?
No, it's not that 100%. Not. And thanks for Ahmad, Lord Thoth. Thanks to Atomic Lori and Glenuccio. Thank you to you, the audience, everyone who sent in a super chat. Appreciate you. Next week is a big week. We've got Versus on Monday. We'll talk about Starfleet Academy more. We've got Wednesday, Justine Bateman live talking the Credo 23 Film Festival. We're excited to have her on for an extended deep dive interview. So it's going to be a big week. And you know what's opening next week? The Bride. The Bride is opening next week, which we're both seeing, which I can't wait to see. Until I found out it was a musical. Now I'm not so sure.
Is it a musical?
Parts of it. Yeah, it's a musical.
I'm going to love it then.
We'll see. We'll see, Alan.
Jesse Buckley can sing. Let's just put it that way.
Well, there you go. That's it for us. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend, everyone. Go see a movie in the theater. We pointed to 2 indie films that are in theaters. You've got choices out there. You've got Scream 7, which you can, my sort of half-hearted. The first half is good. Second half, whatever.
You can go see Pillion.
Or you can see Pillion. Either way, you're getting stabbed. In either, whether it's Pillion, you're getting poked, or in
multiple times too. For both.
There you go. All right, let's end it there. Alan, what do you have to say?
Let's get out of here.